Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session where you're going to get a chance to learn more about two departments that fall in the Division of Mission and Ministry. Those departments are Campus Ministry and the Schlegel Center for Service and Justice. My name is Kyle Lyric. I'm the Director of Campus Ministry. I graduated from Creighton in 1999, spent some time away, and have been back for about 6.5 years. And I'll turn it over to my colleague who's coming to us from the SCSJ.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Tadeo-Orvik. Like Kyle, I'm also a Creighton alum 2 times here, and I've been working in the Schlegel Center for Service and Justice for about the last 10 years. And Kyle and I were both beneficiaries of many of the programs we're going to talk about today. We work together, as Kyle mentioned, in the Division of Mission and Ministry. So together, we seek to make offerings to students to engage faith, seek justice, and to live prophetic lives.
Before we really dive into the content of what you as students could experience in our 2 offices, we thought we should actually give you an experience of what we do a lot through our work, which is one of deep reflection. There is a very common reflection that was set out by St. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuit order, who helps oversee Creighton University. He established this over 500 years ago, so it is tried and true. You've probably heard of it. It's called the examen, or the examination of conscience. And we'd like to invite you, wherever you are, into the examen right now. This will be brief, but we think it's a good way for you to consider how it is that you're coming into this session, and perhaps how it is that you're coming to Creighton. So if you'd be willing to join us, we'd invite you to find a physical posture that allows you to feel grounded, both to this present moment, to yourself, and to God. Perhaps having your feet planted on the floor if you can, having a straight spine, which opens up your lungs and your heart space. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze, and just begin to notice and connect with your breath. Feel the breath coming into your body, filling you with life. And then as you release the breath, perhaps release any tension you might be holding. As we begin the practice, call to mind perhaps why it is that you chose to watch this session. Is there something you're hoping to learn or discover? We'd ask that you take on a posture of gratitude now in your body, in your mind, and in your heart. Gratitude for this moment of life, the gift that you're being given. Knowing that we are here with God, with a source of love, we invite you to think for a moment why it is that you've chosen to come to Creighton, and look at the part of it that excites you. What brings you a sense of joy or hope or energy as you think about stepping onto campus in the fall, as you think about becoming a college student? Using the breath, allow yourself to breathe that energy deep within your body, savoring it in gratitude. And now consider the question, is there anything that brings you fear or anxiety or a sense of trepidation as you think about starting college? Be honest about this. You don't need to judge it, just notice it. And again, knowing that love is present to you now, using your breath, perhaps breathe some peace and some calm into that thought or into that fear. And finally, as you look ahead to showing up to college, showing up to Creighton, what is an intention you can set right now for how you want to show up? How do you want to be as you come into this space that is the community of Creighton University? Perhaps it's a word or a phrase or an image. Call that to mind now. And one more time with a deep breath, setting that intention deep within your heart. And as you exhale, you can slowly come back to this presentation. You can allow your eyes to flutter open. and we'll continue on. Thank you.
We want to especially welcome everyone. All students are welcome in the programming of our office, whether this is comfortable and easy for you and you're seeking leadership, or this is the very first time you've even considered or even seen some of these words. We engage and welcome all students into reflection, to learning about our Ignatian values and tradition. We do this in a spirit of hospitality, highly valuing diversity and inclusion. We offer leadership formation for all of our students along your journey, hopefully of 4 years with us. We offer a community and a sense of belonging and a way to be grounded and to get to know others at Creighton. And we hope that you'll join with us in working for a more just world. So whether you, again, are interested in all of these or just one of these things, we hope that we'll be able to tell you about a few examples of our work, but that you'll come in and meet us and ask more.
So I'm grateful to talk for just a couple minutes about what are some of the key areas in campus ministry, particularly for first-year students. We want to highlight those. Our mission is to accompany community members at Creighton into an ever-deepening relationship with God, with that great source of love and the Creator. We do this through these programs that you can see, so multiple retreats throughout the year. Maybe you've made many retreats already through high school, or you've never been on one before in your life. It's a great chance to step off campus, to step away from the busyness, and to just ground yourself into some common themes. We have many small faith sharing groups where you can gather with a group of 8 to 10 of your peers. Often these are student led, just like our retreats. So you get a chance to just be honest about what's going on in your life, particularly around your spirituality on a regular basis throughout the year. We have many worship and prayer opportunities on campus. So not only is there St. John's right in the heart of campus with multiple masses and liturgies throughout the week and weekend, but we also have various interfaith and ecumenical spaces on campus where you can find a chance to come together with the community in prayer. We have many leadership positions in our office, about 150 a year, and we put all of those student leaders through a leadership formation process where we talk about leadership as servant leadership, which is very different than maybe other kinds of leadership we see in our world, not just to benefit the programs in campus ministry, but to benefit all of our Creighton community. If you want to meet and talk with a professional staff member about what's going on in your faith or spiritual life, we offer spiritual companionship conversations, not just within our office, but even in other parts of campus if you'd like that connection. And lastly, we do have a real devoted effort, as Kelly talked about, of being inclusive. And so if you don't identify as Catholic and you identify from another faith tradition or faith identity, we welcome you. And we have an interfaith leadership core team that helps organize multiple events throughout the year, the highlight of which is our interfaith prayer service that happens in February every year. So you can see some numbers from this past year in terms of how many students have gotten involved. The freshman retreat is a wonderful way very early in the semester to get involved with some of your peers. So we have about 65 spots, although that may change as we look toward what our fall experience of the retreat looks like. And we'll have registration opening on August 1st on a first come, first served basis. So you may want to mark that on your calendars because these retreats often fill up fast. And this will be led by 28 students who are a team that are already working very hard to make this experience what it will be for you. This is a great way to meet some friends early on in your time at Creighton. Those small faith sharing groups I talked about, one type is called a Christian Life Community or a CLC, where you can meet weekly. We'll have 6 of those in the fall for first year students with about 8 to 10 in each one and 2 student leaders in each. If you've never been part of a group like this, it can be a great way to deepen relationship. One student wrote, after participating, forging connections and opening up in CLC has encouraged me to be more open with people in general. I think it's hard just getting over that fear of being vulnerable in order to be real, but practicing it weekly in CLC helps. So that's from the words of a student who's been part of a CLC. So I'm going to take a second now to allow you to see a video about campus ministry.
I think in discovering your true self, you have to find out what you believe in first and foremost. And the first steps, I think I got that from campus ministry, figuring out what I believed in, how I believed it, and how I wanted to practice it.
that allowed me to tap into parts of myself that I knew existed but needed strengthening, or to recognize new parts of myself that I didn't even know existed.
And then after that, I think it's putting your true self in action. And campus ministry has been the perfect vessel for me to do that in. Just finding ways that I can be my true self for others.
I'm also more willing to share my faith. Like when I first came in, I was a little nervous to do it just because I was like, oh, I don't want to offend anyone. But I'm so much more comfortable with who I am and like the things that I believe in that I'm like willing to talk about it and engage in those conversations, because I feel like God experiences are meant to be shared, not kept.
When you come to college, you don't have your own faith. You have kind of the faith that your parents have shaped you into, which is a good faith and a really good starting point.
My parents were like, all right, let's go to church, all right, like it's time to go to confession or it's time to pray or anything like that. And then so when I came to college, like it was completely up to me to like keep that going if it was something that I wanted to do.
Any student would love the ability to figure themselves out a little bit. That's been such a gift to me, and I think that a lot of students come in without a real starting space or without a real starting point. And figuring out where that starting point is when you get into college, I think campus ministry is an awesome place to start.
Coming to Creighton, especially being someone who wasn't Catholic, I really had no idea what my faith was going to mean for me or how I was going to go about it. Freshman year, I kind of went to Mass with everybody else because that's what everybody does, and I didn't really know that there was other options. And so once I finally realized that campus ministry had other things besides just Mass, and that it was all these opportunities and stuff.
I think being in college really allows you to take ownership of your faith. And for me, I worked to find that, and it took me until about sophomore year on the Encounter retreat when it just clicked, and I started taking ownership of my faith, and I started believing in things, not just accepting things.
My first experience was going on freshman retreat. And that was actually like when I knew that Creighton was where I was supposed to be. And just sitting there and like hearing my leader speak or like hearing the talks that the students had to offer, like I was like, wow, like this is something that I want to pursue. I figured out what it was about my faith that was important to me, that it wasn't just going to worship and it wasn't just, praying by myself, but it was putting that into action.
My work in campus ministry is it's let me figure out how I fit into my faith life and how my faith life fits into me, especially just in my service to others and how I view others' role in my faith life.
In campus ministry, I've had diverse experiences, everything from being a part of a group to leading a group to taking on new projects and creating something entirely new. And so I think in the last 4 years, I found a sense of ownership in myself, both in my faith personally, but as well as the skills that I can give to my community.
Just when I walk into the building itself, I feel like the sense of support and community, and I just feel so welcomed and as if it's my family away from home. I just always know that campus ministry will meet me wherever I am.
There's just this attitude of, we're here, we know that you're here, and we want to meet you here wherever you're at. And I think that's really, really special that campus ministry can do that for me, and I know it does it for other people.
As Kyle mentioned, we have a lot of activities that are available for students to dip their toes in or to find deepened opportunities for leadership and engagement. The mission statement of our office is to awaken hearts and lives of solidarity to build a more just world. So we do these through typical things that you might expect an Office of Service and Justice to do: direct, meaningful service, justice, education, and civic engagement, Ignatian advocacy, leadership formation, and all in the context of a community. We'll go to the next slide, Kyle. Thanks. We do this through local community identified service, and we will have lots of opportunities in the fall, whether it's virtual or in person. We're committed to connecting with our local community, our national community in meaningful ways. We'll have opportunities for students to drop in and just do this one time, and we'll have opportunities for students to sign up to do it all semester long. Students who are involved in service in the university find that they're more able to connect with other students of similar interest, that they're able to create a little piece of what was home for them in their new community of Omaha, if you're not from Omaha. And we know that many students come to Creighton because of this commitment to service and justice. Do one more slide. Another signature program that we'll be offering this year is our service and justice trips. We already have 161 people signed up for the fall program, and we hope that you'll consider joining. Again, this may take a virtual or in-person format, but we'll have opportunities to engage with partners regionally and nationally around service and justice. And we'd like to show you more about a video that we have called Becoming, and the way that that is framed comes from one of our heroes in the Jesuit world. You'll see a quote from Peter Hans Kolvenbach that says, "The real measure of a Jesuit education is who our students become. We're grateful to be a part of your path of who you're becoming, and we look forward to helping you become men and women who do service and justice."
When I was a sophomore here at Creighton, I took my second service trip to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we stayed at St. Martin's Hospitality Center for the Homeless. And during that time, I met a man named Patrick, and he and I became really close over that week. We talked about everything, not just his story of why he was experiencing homelessness, but also just what we both liked, and we found that we had a lot in common. He told me about his family, and I talked about mine. No matter how different we were, Patrick and I always could find something in common. And after coming back from that service trip, my view of the world completely changed. I've heard the phrase, finding and seeing God in all things, and I think that's a beautiful phrase, and I absolutely love the idea of it. But since that service trip, I've now come to think of it as finding Patrick in all things.
My perspective on service changed a lot after my second trip to Cleveland. That's when I realized that even though each and every service trip, it does affect me, after my second service trip I realized that there's a lot more I could be doing.
You know where you feel like you're supposed to be somewhere, like you feel right somewhere. And so going on the service trips, it just really felt like I wanted to do that but more. And so I always had this, I want to see what is after service, but I didn't really know what that meant.
Look into someone's eyes and see their story, and as they're telling you about these things that they've been through, these things they've gone through, and it just makes it so much more you can feel it.
And it is in those experiences that you remove yourself from your daily life, you realize that there's a much bigger world that exists out there, and there's a lot to be done.
We always want people to question things and advocate further and go further and take whatever they've learned and take that next step.
Building those personal connections with people is a really important step for Ignatian advocacy, because without it, you're just kind of focusing on what you think is the problem. But after I've gotten those great relationships, I can focus on how is this going to affect the people that I know, and what are they going to think about it, and what's the best way to go about it for them.
And those are the questions that you then battle in your classrooms with your friends and when you're out in the community, and that's the whole well-rounded education that we get. It's the justice education that we get at Creighton.
This is why a Jesuit university exists, is to show students different issues and to really help them realize how they can be a part of changing things.
The real measure of our Jesuit universities lies in who our students become.
I'm becoming an advocate, and I'm becoming someone that wants to change our world.
Hopefully, I'm becoming an agent for change.
I think I'm becoming someone that is seeing how poorly people are treated in this world and how I want to be a part of making it better.
What I hope to become is an individual who remains compassionate throughout the entirety of my life, a person who understands the benefit of service and justice, even if it sometimes seems like an uphill battle, who understands the benefit of continuing that journey and incorporating it into my everyday life.
I am becoming open-minded and mature. Obviously, there's a lot more to learn, a lot more experiences to go through.
You can do service and call it a day and then check out and go back to your daily life. But now it's just who I am, and it's what I love, and it's what keeps me grounded and what keeps me going. Makes me excited to study what I'm studying.
I'm becoming a voice to the voiceless, especially with all these injustices that we've been facing in the world. Working in the office has allowed me to actually advocate.
I'm becoming somebody that wants to be the change and be a leader for our world.
I think that's one of the great things about the Jesuit education. It forces you to see these issues and really think and reflect about these specific issues, like your privilege and your different opportunities you have, and then you really hope that you become that agent of change and you're able to make a difference.
I am becoming a better person, I think, through working here. Just learning about everything that's going on in the world and just learning about different people's stories and listening.
And because of the work here, I have a lot of joy in my life. I'm becoming Annie. I'm okay with the person that I am. I'm very happy with the person that I am. But it's because I'm able to see myself in other people.
I am becoming a more compassionate person. I want to know about the outside world, but then also how it's affecting the ones that I've come to love.
So we hope that this session was helpful and informative for you. Perhaps it's stirred up more questions than given you any answers, particularly if, as Kelly said, a lot of this might be new for you, but this is really at the heart of who we are as a Jesuit Catholic university. And so please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You can see our contact information on the screen here. You can also easily find our websites by searching for them, and we have some contact information there as well. We both have very active social media channels, so you can begin following us there. We'd love it if you would start doing that now to see what we have coming up for in the fall. And then, as we mentioned, we are part of a larger division of mission and ministry, so that website there is at the bottom of this slide. So we hope that your time as you continue to learn about what Creighton has to offer during summer preview is rich and exciting. We're excited to welcome you as our newest community members and families, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall. Thanks, everybody.